Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate you once again for joining us in our Black History Month Trailblazer Spotlight. We appreciate each of you who have been tuning in each week as we have highlighted some amazing individuals who have made great impact in their professions and in their community. So tonight we have none other than Mr. Clark Smith. He is the Senior Vice President at Martin, and I have the great privilege of introducing him tonight. So, Mr. Smith, like as I said, he's a Senior Vice President, and he is a 32-year employee. That's a long time of Martin Resource Management Corporation, Cross Oil Division. Mr. Smith holds a Bachelor of Science degree in chemistry from the University of Central Arkansas. He joined Cross as an analytical chemist, then chief chemist, and later promoted to vice president technical service. In his current role, he is senior vice president. In addition to having responsibility for the day to day operation of our quality control, research, quality assurance, product distribution, logistics, customer service, and supply and distribution, he is responsible for technical sales and marketing for base oil sales. In addition, he has P&L responsibilities for four business units within Martin. Those are Cross Oil, Martin Operating Partnership, Martin Lubricants, and Norfolk Rail Terminal. This is a busy man. He is married to Jennifer Denise for 31 years, and they have two sons, Bradley, who's an operations manager at Carti, and Brennan, who is a second year physical therapy, who is in his second year in physical therapy school at UAMS. So not only that, he is involved with certain organizations, the American Fuel and Petrochemical Manufacturers, the National Lubricating Grease Institute. He's a member of Committee on Electrical Insulating Oils, the Independent Lubricants Manufacturers Association, of course, a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. He is a lifetime member, and he's a current member of the Camden Magnolia Alumni Chapter. He's a member of the Independent Citizens Commission, which is a state of Arkansas appointment. As it relates to the community, Mr. Smith serves as deacon at St. John Missionary Baptist Church. He's a member of the El Dorado Civitan Club. He is a former board member of the Union County United Way. He is a current board member of the Union County Community Foundation, and he is a former volunteer coach, a former board president, and current board member serving as treasurer for the El Dorado Boys and Girls Club. That is an amazing and extremely impressive bio, and we are in for a treat tonight. And so please stick around, share this video with your friends, your family, your neighbors. All it takes, hit that button, hit share, let somebody know we're on and we're talking to a Black History Month trailblazer tonight. So at this time, I will turn it over to my parents, mom and dad, Apostle Larry W., and co-pastor Jesse Yarbrough for the interview of our guest tonight.
All right. Hello, hello, hello. Well, we're thanking God for another opportunity to come before you and visit with some of the uh, great people in our African American community. And as I said a few weeks ago with one of the other trailblazers, is that we are speaking with some people that we can touch and we can communicate directly that are right here at home among us. And I think I heard my little dog barking. But we're just grateful for Mr. Smith being here with us on tonight and taking time out of his very, very busy schedule. And so we're going to get into the area of just asking a few questions and finding out just a little bit more about this very astute gentleman that we have the pleasure of interviewing tonight. Thank you so much, Mr. Smith, for taking time out of your busy, very busy schedule. Um, First of all, I want to ask you to if you would let us know how you arrived at your present position.
Okay. Well, as she stated in the bio, I'm a 32 year employee of the Martin Corporation. And 32 years sounds like a long time, but it doesn't feel like I've been there that long. But I guess the time and years is adding up on me. Um, I guess it would go back to what I would describe as my upbringing. I had a fairly I had a fairly normal childhood. I grew up in the Sandyland community near Smackover with a normal childhood. Extended family was extremely important to us. Um, we visited with great grandparents, aunt, uncles, cousins. Everybody was nearby and within walking distance of each other. So, and even the church that we attended, that I attended the first 48 years of my life, was just right down the road from where we live. So upbringing was normal. We're a family of five. I'm number four out of five kids. Um, my older sister and brother, I would say, set the standard for us because they started out in segregated schools. They're a little bit older than me, and they started out in segregated schools the first few years of school, and then they integrated it into the Smackover school system. So they were good kids, good students. My sister went on to become a pharmacist after college. My brother became a commissioned officer in the Army. So we had no choice but to line up and act right. So the foundation was literally there for me. My grandfather was a Baptist preacher. He pastored two churches. One church met on the first and third Sunday. The other church met on the second and fourth Sunday. So summers were full of revivals. Where he lived, there were a lot of gardens or patches around his house where he grew vegetables and passed those along to the community. As stated, my grandparents, my aunt lived next door to my aunt and uncle, who also had five children. So we just kind of all grew up together in that Sandyland community.
Very good.
Mr. Clark
Yes, ma'am.
Smith, we just thank you for being with us as one of the trailblazers. Thank you for taking your time out to be with us. Because you answered just about one of the questions that I was going to ask you, and that was your upbringing. So we've gotten through that part about your upbringing,
Yeah.
and very interesting and good too. Uh, can you tell us a little bit more about your educational experience as an African American?
Okay. Um, Secondary high school, we attended Smackover High School. I attended Smackover High School, graduating in 1987. From Smackover High School, I attended the University of Central Arkansas. My initial plan was not to for a chemistry degree. It was a pre-pharmacy program, and I initially thought I wanted to follow in the footsteps of my sister. But after a couple of years in college, I thought, maybe I want to go another route. So at that point, I was about 2 years away from a chemistry degree, and I said, well, I'll finish that program and then figure out things after there. But my plan A was not University of Central Arkansas. My plan A was to be a Razorback football player, and I had been recruited, starting in the 10th grade, and things were progressing well. But I had a knee injury my senior year, and they pulled back on a full scholarship. So at that point, my mother said, "Hey, we really don't like football anyway. So you don't have to play football to go to college." So UCA was my plan B. So
Okay. So they really didn't like football anyway.
right.
Well, I can feel that. I can feel that because I don't know anything about football. Did you ever feel pressured to exceed expectations in education because you are a minority?
No,
Did you
I
ever?
guess any pressure that was on me, I believe I placed on myself. My parents never, harped on, you need to do this or you need to do that. They simply said, you choose your path, you decide what you want to do, but whatever you do, try to be the best at it. And so I didn't have any pressure, pressure from that aspect. Growing up in Smackover, I would say that the race relation between the students was good. We never had any major conflicts. I've always known I was a minority. I've always known or I always thought that I had to work a little bit harder to get the same credit, if I could ever get the same credit. So, from that aspect, I probably had a little chip on my shoulder from that, but no pressure regarding that.
Okay, I feel you there. We always have to work, as a matter of fact, 2 to 3 times more than our other.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What motivated you to pursue your career?
Oh, I would say, I mean, my parents, they were a big motivation. I saw them do more with less. I saw them making a lot of sacrifices so that we could have an opportunity to succeed. And my mindset was, that's the least I could do. Watching them, work 2, sometimes 3 jobs just to put food on the table. That was my inspiration, and that was my motivating factor. If they worked that hard to give me an opportunity, then I needed to do my part as well.
Right, right. That's good. That's good. What advice or words of wisdom would you offer to individuals seeking or pursuing their goal? What advice would you offer to someone pursuing their goal?
My advice would be, number one, nothing comes easy. You get out of it what you put into it. So find your focus, find something that you truly believe in, and then bust your rear end trying to make it happen. Realizing that at times there will be peaks, there will be valleys, there will be roadblocks, but find your motivation, know what you want to do, and chase that goal. Especially for today's youth, there's so many opportunities out there for them. All they got to do is just reach out and grab it and take advantage of the opportunity that they have.
Right, right. That's real good. To go after it. Don't let anything pull you back. I mean, I enjoyed that. Okay, now my husband have some questions for you.
Okay.
Mr. Smith, I kind of want to back up just a little bit. Now, of course, our daughter read your extensive resume. Was so impressive. And can we just back up a little bit and would you kind of describe a little bit more your responsibilities as senior vice president at
Okay.
Martin?
For responsibilities, number one, I'm responsible for uh, placing a paycheck on the table for about 300 different families. So I take that job, very, very seriously. Our refinery is in a remote location. There's only 4 other refineries within the United States who produce the products that we produce. So we're competing nationally and globally every day. First and foremost, I've got profit and loss responsibility for Cross, which is a refinery that's been there for 100 years. We had our 100-year anniversary last year. Martin Lubricants, which is a fairly new company. We're about 20 years into that company. The Martin Operating Partnership is a direct line tied to Cross. One is the manufacturing side, whereas Cross is the marketing side of that business. And then the Norfolk Rail Terminal, that business unit is a little over a year old. So we're trying to get that business unit up and running. It is running well right now, but that facility has so much potential. Relative to the specific departments that I'm responsible for, logistics, and that would be truck and land logistics, technical services, meaning the quality assurance of our product, the quality control of our product, the research and development of our products, customer service. Our customer portfolio is about 300 different customers, so I'm responsible for that customer base. I hate discussing my title. I sometimes I just say that I'm the janitor because I'm always cleaning up things. But somebody's got to have the title. I guess it's me for now.
Well, Mr. Smith, I want to say that every time I've gone into your office as Chapel Marketplace, you seem to be so calm, so cool, and so collected. Um, well, all the things that you're telling us tonight, you have an extensive responsibility, and it speaks volumes uh, from the corporate perspective, I guess I'd say, for lack of words. I'm trying to find the right words to say. That they have the utmost confidence in your ability to do all the things that you do. Now, I know that there are people that work under you, and you don't have to micromanage, but it speaks volumes of your ability to do the things that you do and to hold down all of the aspects of the companies the areas that you're responsible for. That speaks volumes. And
Well, I mean,
I tip my hat.
I started
Yes.
out as a wastewater chemist, and then a couple of years into it, they let me start working with oil a little bit, and after about 4 years of marriage, my wife and I decided to have a family, and ownership at that time. I said, yeah, I got to figure out a way make more money, and well, he said, if you want to make more money, you got to take on more responsibility. So, I mean, that's kind of, that's what I did over the years. He said, just roll up your sleeves and learn our business. So he gave me the opportunity to learn our entire business, and it just kind of, everything just kind of synergized over the years. Why I just knew everything, and I know everything pretty much, top to bottom with our business. But it came with a lot of work. I mean, um, I always tell the younger students when I'm talking to them, it's more important what you do when nobody's watching than when somebody's watching. So when oftentimes when people were home sleeping, I was up working.
Yeah, that means a lot. That means a lot. And you can tell people how to reach their goals, and it's by hard work. By hard work. It was not just handed to you. You've proven your labor and your faithfulness. Um, so, uh, do you, are you aware with the position that you have, senior vice president? Are you aware of any other African Americans that hold that particular position within South Arkansas, this area? Because it's kind of far and in between.
Yeah,
Not
not within South Arkansas and not within our industry. If I think back, 32 years ago, when I would go to an industry meeting, um, and it would be maybe 500 people there, and it would be about 495 white men, about three black guys, and about three guys from two or three guys from India. So from an industry perspective, over the years I've seen it change where I do see more minorities. I do see more women in the industry than I did over the years. Um, I'll never forget there were two men that I met. One man was by the name of Fred Barrett, and he was in sales for Exxon Mobil, and another gentleman was his name was Jimmy Rasco, and he was a technical guy from Ergon Refining, and by chance we're in a relationship with Ergon Refining now. But I would see those two men at industry meetings, and they would kind of take me under the wing, talk about the do's and the don'ts, and how people watch you when you're not um, people are watching you all the time. So
right.
take heed and take notice of that.
That's so
I
good.
certainly don't take the position lightly. I know that, for me, I hate to use the term mentor or role model, but I know that if I make the wrong moves in this position, then it's going to hurt the chances of somebody else getting a chance. So I take it very seriously.
That's so good, Mr. Smith. And you are definitely a role model. Definitely a role model. And I'm proud of you. I really am. And I know there's a whole lot more people that's proud of you. Your family, and then a lot of your friends and associates and different ones that uh, you were in school with and in college with, over the years. I know that they know about you, and this is very, very impressive. Very impressive. So, what would you say is the highlight of your career? From all of these years, what was it, 32 years?
Yes, sir.
Uh, the highlight of your career, what would you say?
I don't think I could. I don't think I could isolate it into a single highlight, 'cause things happened in cycles. For Cross, and I guess from when I was a chemist, I developed our signature product, and it's our signature product today. I developed that product in 1995, and the volume of sales of that product has gone up each year, for the last 32 years. So I did that single-handedly. Basically, my boss at that time said, figure out a way to get into this market, and I figured it out. And so that was a highlight. Over the years, we've had to upgrade our product slate to remain competitive in the market. I knew that we couldn't do that because we didn't have the cap. I knew that we couldn't get it with capital because the project was, somewhere around 80 to $100 million. So I knew that we weren't going to spend that money at the time. So I started thinking about it from a chemistry or molecular perspective. Can we indeed get into other markets? So, spearheaded a project where, we changed up our entire product crude slate over the years. When I got there, they said, "Hey, this refinery can't run without Arkansas crude in it." Well, Arkansas crude is good because it's local, but we couldn't get into the value-added markets that we needed to. So I started a crude oil research project where I started selecting crude oils from over the United States, bringing them in, analyzing them, putting different combinations and blends together. And I finally, found a recipe that gave us a particular synergy with the molecules, and we were able to achieve with a feedstock, what $100 million in technology would have done. So I tested that theory for probably 2 years before we took it to management, and they finally called me into a meeting one day and said, "Okay, Smitty, how can we get into value-added markets?" And man, I had 2 years of research in my hip pocket, and I was able to go in there and answer those questions and have the data and everything to back it up. So that was a highlight, because I was still, at that time I was just I was just still a grunt in the operation. This job has, afforded me the opportunity to travel all over the country and outside of the United States many times, and somebody else paid for it.
Yeah.
I didn't, I wouldn't have been able to afford all of those things on my own. In the environment that I worked in, I believe I earned the respect of all my peers. Not many people, there weren't many people who looked like me in the industry at that time. So again, I'll use the term chip on the shoulder. I had a chip on my shoulder about that, and use that as motivation. So just, that was a highlight, just earning the respect of my peers. And then the highlight also, it's afforded me the opportunity to take care of my family. My kids love sports. I love sports, but we used vacations as opportunities to take them to museums and of course sporting events and everything else that they needed to do. So a highlight is that it's enabled me to do a lot of things that I wouldn't have been able to do.
Wow. That is so impressive. That is so
Mhm.
impressive. And I'm sure that our listening audience is just going woo-wee on this, because here's one of our own, one of our own. And now I want to make sure that I heard you correctly. You developed this particular product.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That speaks volumes. Wow.
And
So,
it's still our highest margin product. Although I no longer work in the lab, I still review data as if I'm in the lab every day. So I definitely babysit that product, because it's it's pretty special, and it has worldwide credibility. So that's an important factor as well.
that is so good. That is so good. So, 100 years from now, your name is going to be in that booklet as the developer of that particular product. That is awesome. That is just
Mhm.
awesome. And I was going to ask you if uh, your position allowed you to travel, around the country or what have you. And you answered that question around the country as well as outside of the country.
Yes.
That's really, really good. That's really, really good.
Hmm.
Want to ask one more question before we go and have a break, one station break. But now, would you encourage other minorities to pursue a position in the oil and gas industry? Would you encourage other minorities to pursue this, in this
Without a
area?
doubt, without a doubt. Um, you know, and thinking in terms of college, business school really didn't catch my attention at the time. So I was somehow became motivated by the sciences. So there's an endless number of opportunities for STEM related courses. Science, technology, engineering, mathematics. So I would definitely encourage minorities to consider STEM related applications. Lots of opportunities for chemists, lots of opportunities for engineers. Uh, Lots of opportunities for math related applications. At the end of the day, when we're getting approvals at companies like Goodyear, Michelin, Lubrizol, ExxonMobil, it's not a sales and marketing pitch that gets us the business. It's a technical sale that gets us the business, because you have to go in there and technically present your product and yourself. So over the years, the money has improved for that market, and there's a lot of opportunities. So I would definitely encourage anyone to consider that. In thinking about this a couple of days ago, both my sons went the science route, and they didn't get any pressure from me nor my wife on taking that route. But I was, thinking about things. I'm like, man, they kind of follow in their old man's footsteps,
That's good. Very good. And I know you're proud of them. I
Yes,
know
sir.
you're very, very proud of them. And I had the opportunity to meet one of them, and just so impressed. Such fine young men, and they're like they say, they're chip off the old block. Yeah, so they got it honest.
All
All
right.
right. Well, thank you so much. At this point, we're going to have a break, and we'll come right back.
Okay.
Abundant Life Ministries, located at 501 West Block Street in El Dorado, Arkansas, cordially invites you to worship with us each Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Apostle Larry W. and co-pastor Lady Jessie Yarbrough, founders. Abundant Life Ministries, the place where Jesus is Lord and you are loved.
All right. So we are back with Mr. Clark Smith, Senior Vice President of Martin Lubricants and Cross Oil. We're just having such a great time. And this has really, really been a good segment on this evening. We have just a couple more questions. What would you say is, or who had the greatest impact in helping you to pursue your dreams? Who had the greatest impact upon you to help you pursue your dreams?
Without a doubt, I would say my parents. As I stated earlier, they worked 2-3 jobs sometimes just to give us an opportunity, and giving us an opportunity they went without for a long time. So they're at the top of my list on that. There have been several positive influences in my life, both male and female, from my extended family. My next door neighbor, who was my aunt and uncle, she was an educator and a principal. My great aunt was an educator. She was my 4th or 5th grade teacher. Matter of fact, that was the only paddling I ever got in school. Was in her class, and she did it in front of the whole class. So that was my first and last meeting with the board on that. For whatever reason, I had my first job at 14. The family who my dad worked for, I never wanted to ask my dad for anything, so I wanted to work as soon as I could. So at 14, he got me a job, and I was working in the yard. I was planting flowers, I was pruning, I was mowing. That's kind of where I learned my landscaping skills, and I learned also that was something I didn't want to do the rest of my life, because it was 8 hours a day, 40 hours per week, doing that work in the middle of the summer, on my Christmas break, on spring break. So I wanted to make my own pocket money. But even at that time, I mean, the gentlemen, who I worked with, they were speaking knowledge into me at that time, giving me advice on what to do, what not to do. That carried over, with my church family. The men and the women in the church, were very, very good at pointing out, offering knowledge and advice, and still to this day. I mean, I'm not good at saying what's really on my mind, so I handle my problems internally. But oftentimes, someone will say something to me, not even knowing what's on my mind, and that's and they wind up telling me exactly what I need to hear. My faith is very important to me. Were it not for God's grace and mercy, I definitely would not be in this position. I take credit for nothing. I know God has some sort of plan for me, and I appreciate the obstacles and successes he's placed in my life. He's blessed me. He's blessed my family. He's blessed my friends, and every time I had a project to do, and before I would go into a meeting, I would say, "Okay, God, bless my heart, bless my mind, bless my hands," because this is how I make my living. So, definitely haven't taken anything for granted from a spiritual perspective. I'm very humbled by everything that's happened to me.
Mr. Smith, that is so impressive, and that's something that most of us African Americans, our parents and faith, our church, our parents and church, these are the areas where we have those. The parents give us that drive, and then the church gives us that trust. Teaches us how to trust in God, and that is one of the things that, as well, that we understand that it's carried you this far, your faith, and that is so commendable. Uh, we're seeing more and more in these last days, I call them, of our professionals acknowledging their faith in God, and that's how we make it. That is how we make it. All right. Uh, what can we see from you in the future, as far as the future is concerned?
Oh man, career wise, I'm 32 years in. So, if I had a crystal ball, then I would say I probably want to work another 10 years and come home and sit on the porch. I appreciate you all giving me this opportunity to do this, because I've got a lot of respect for you, Pastor Yarbrough, and ordinarily I would decline something like this, but when you ask, I said, okay, I'll do this for him. So the future for me, maybe getting out of my comfort zone a little bit more. I hate talking about myself, but I mean, if I can do something to help somebody, then I'm willing to get a little bit more out of my comfort zone. The youth in our community right now, in my opinion, are at a crossroads, and they need to see more positive men and women, but more so men. So, if it takes me to be more vocal about that, then I'll do it. One of the things that we're going to be doing locally, and it's through our fraternity Kappa Alpha Psi, but we're trying to get a young youth male mentor program kicked off called Kappa League. And I've committed myself to helping with that project. We're not recreating the wheel with this program. The program's been in place 100 years. It's a successful program. We can't just sign up and say we want to be a mentor. I mean, we've been vetted. We've had background checks. We've had fingerprinting. We've taken various online courses. So there's about 3 other local guys who I'm going to be working with to get that program kicked off. But hey, we just want to speak knowledge into these young men and convince them that if they work hard, if they put in the time, then success will come. And again, there'll be peaks and valleys and obstacles and problems, but with us assisting them, we'll help them get through the project. So I would say the future, more involvement in the mentorship program, and more involvement, with the youth. At least that's been placed on my heart for now.
That is so good. That is so good. It's been said that busy people make the best mentors. And so you're very, very busy, but you still have a heart for young people, and especially our young African-American men that are growing up, our young males that are growing up in our communities, and that need positive role models. And it says that we can do more than bounce a ball and run with a ball. We can do more than that. We can be senior vice presidents of major corporations. And so, that being said, Mr. Smith, it's been a pleasure, awesome pleasure, to have you to enter into our home by way of live stream, and to have you to go out over the airways, and allowing people to just get to know you and get to know someone in our own community that's really, really doing something positive. And you are definitely a trailblazer in our community, and this covers so many other areas. So thank you so much again for being here tonight. And just before we close out, we want to just remind everyone that next Thursday at 7 o'clock, we will have the Reverend Odell Carr, who is an author, and he is the pastor of New St. Mary Baptist Church in Camden. And we will have him to be with us on next Thursday night as our African American trailblazer. Mr. Smith, again, we thank you from the bottom of our heart. And we're looking forward to coming in and interrupting your busy schedule and visiting with you for just a few moments. And God bless you. May the Lord keep you and you and your family.
We enjoyed you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for considering me. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir. It was an honor. It was an honor. Thank you so much.